What is up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the compassionately cold-hearted Dr. Disaster, and today Santa Claus is visiting my town and I'm really excited to be taking my little daughter to go see him in order to tell Santa what she wants for Christmas. She's been a very good girl this year, unlike Bioware.
You're on the naughty list.
Nothing that studio has done in the past few years has been anything but bloody awful. You have to go back to Dragon Age Inquisition all the way back in 2014 to find anything playable that they've put out, which is utterly sad considering the tremendous pedigree of Bioware. They used to make games like the Mass Effect trilogy, or the original Knights of the Old Republic, but now you can't play one of their games without some gender-curious troglodyte coming up to your character and asking,
"Are you trying to have sex with me?"
"I'd rather spit in your face."
Just as a little public service announcement, let's just remind these idiots how all of this works. This sort of game right here, this is KOTOR, and it was made for a crowd of people that wants pizza and Mountain Dew as their gamer fuel. Or maybe if you're a little older, you trade out the Mountain Dew for a beer. But this shit, Dragon Age the Veilguard crap, was made for the avocado toast and soy latte crowd. Or maybe throw in a little glass of wine into the mix if it's late at night. And now, based on the sales of the Veilguard, you can see which of these crowds that it pays to pander to in the gaming industry.
We f***ed up.
That is correct.
And that is why we are now seeing this news right here. Earlier this year, the sort of jackasses who actually enjoy Dragon Age the Veilguard were out celebrating and bragging about how the game won a Game of the Year award at the LGBT gaming festival known as the Gaming Awards. But the irrelevance of such a thing is almost impossible to overstate. Here in the real world, Dragon Age Day, as you can see from this headline, just came and just went, and without a single peep from Bioware. The remaining hardcore Dragon Age fans were trying like hell to wake Bioware up and to get something, anything from them. But instead, they've had to come to a sad conclusion about this once mighty intellectual property.
Oh shit, you're dead.
Alright me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. A lot of people have told me that they have been unwillingly unsubscribed to the channel, so make sure you are still subbed. Ever since I started mentioning this in my videos, I've had loads of people tell me that they found that this had happened to them. If you've heard me say this before, well, this section of my videos will be skippable from now on by being turned into a chapter on the video timeline. But I do have to keep mentioning this because I don't know why this crap happens, but it does happen an awful lot. Anyways, let's read this article here from Kotaku explaining that Dragon Age's studio didn't have a single thing to say about the franchise on its annual holiday. It says here, December 4th is Dragon Age Day, the unofficial day fans of Bioware's fantasy RPG anthology celebrate the series. Last year, the studio earnestly participated. Dragon Age the Veilguard was only about a month old at the time, so Bioware released the game's incredible character creator for free and broke down early player choices on social media. This year, there wasn't a peep from the studio on the matter, not even a single mention of the franchise that once won Best Game at the Game Awards. And let me break this down for you real quick, Kotaku. Last year, they were in this stage. This is a tweet from game journalist Jason Schreier, who put this out right after Dragon Age released, where he was celebrating the fact that the Veilguard hit the top of the sales charts on Steam. He thought he was dunking on the chuds, the dude was living in denial, and last year, so was Bioware. But Jason Schreier eventually deleted this tweet because he's a chicken shit coward and he's had to come to terms with the reality that gamers rejected this shit. And now, Bioware is finally living in the same reality that everyone else is, though this article has already demonstrated why they were ever living in fantasy land in the first place, talking up the character creator for the Veilguard as if that is something magnificent. Never mind the fact that it has been well documented that if you want a female character without the almost literal body proportions of a broomstick, then this game is not for you. But of course, they do have the top surgery scars available for the trans crowd, so naturally, Kotaku thinks this is the bestest thing ever. Once again, ask yourself, is this shit for the Mountain Dew and beer crowd, or the latte and Chardonnay crowd? But you get what I'm saying. Let's keep reading the article. It says next, if you look at Bioware's Dragon Age social accounts, the last time the studio used the game's X account was to repost an ad for the Veilguard on the EA Play subscription service on August 28th. The developer's official blog's last post was on November 7th, celebrating Mass Effect's equivalent holiday, N7 Day, which had a small update on the upcoming 5th game and the Amazon television series. You'll find no such post about Dragon Age. Bioware has admitted it's become a one-game studio after massive layoffs back in January, so there is no 5th Dragon Age game in the works, but the silence also casts a shadow on the RPG series' past. Well, maybe there wouldn't be such silence if Bioware hadn't turned a beloved franchise into a soapbox to preach to us about their weird-ass gender ideology. They hired a director who literally refers to themselves as a queerosexual gendermancer on social media, and now they are confused about, gee, why didn't people buy this game? And why won't Bioware talk about this franchise? If this is really a mystery to anyone at Kotaku, then they are even bigger idiots than I first believed. As recently as a decade ago, the Dragon Age franchise was riding on an incredible high. Dragon Age Inquisition had just won the Game of the Year at the Game Awards. People were generally pretty damned happy with that game, and they were excited to see what was coming in the next installment, but then the game went through development hell. They tried to turn Dragon Age into a live service MMO type thing, realized that was a very stupid, very bad idea. They decided to turn it back, hired the Gendermancer as the director of the game, and then, after making people wait 10 years for a sequel, they pumped it full of gender sludge like this.
Best part is, while Tash is pounding that snake's nose, she's still holding the ruby in her other hand. Maker's panties, I was so proud. Ah, shit. They're still holding it, sorry.
What are you doing?
Pulling a barb.
Oh, okay.
A barb?
Tradition in the Lords of Fortune, from one of our old members, Barv. Good guy, but like most of us, his plans went sideways a lot. Bad blood among your crew's not good for morale, but there's not always time for big drawn-out apologies. So, when one of us screws up and we know we've screwed up, we do a quick 10 to put it right. Pulling a Barv. Oh, there we go.
I'm glad the Lords of Fortune have Tarsh's back.
Oh, Tarsh isn't the first non-binary member of the Lords.
Really?
It was a little before your time, but Horlicks was one of ours.
Huh.
Bastard looked better than I did in a dress or pants. And out of them, too.
That shit is gross!
With all of that in mind, I'm sure that EA wants to avoid any talk of Dragon Age at all, because they know that it will be met with negativity, and even if they hadn't been commanded to be quiet about this franchise, I'm sure the remaining developers at the studio are still shell-shocked by the whole experience of working on that turd. Last we heard, there were fewer than 100 devs working at Bioware. The survivors, so to speak, are probably not keen to discuss a franchise that nearly cost them their jobs, and more than that, they probably don't even have much for community managers right now since they are so bare bones, and if you ask me, that's an improvement. But the article says next, if you're only passively paying attention, it might make sense for the studio to not make a big deal about a series without a sequel it's actively promoting. But for fans and the developers who spent decades working on Dragon Age, it's another insult to beloved games that seem to sometimes get the short end of the stick over their troubled development. In the months since Bioware was gutted of veteran talent and Dragon Age the Veilguard was thrown under the bus by parent company Electronic Arts, developers have been candid about how the Dragon Age team felt like it wasn't treated fairly by the broader company. Aww, well that's too bad. But if you want to make the argument that EA is just as responsible for the negative Veilguard outcome as Bioware, then sure, whatever, I'm listening. That's why I'm legitimately excited that EA is being bought out by the Saudis, because the company can't get much worse than it already is in my view, and now at least these shitlibs can experience the same level of disgust that we've experienced. But the people at Bioware are ultimately responsible for the game that they put their name on, and absolute turds like Kotaku don't get to act indignant about all of this now, because guess what? You idiots got everything that you wanted, an infusion of your shitty progressive politics into a franchise that gamers used to enjoy. You got to own the chuds and see your progressive sensibilities rubbed in our faces. Oh wait, what's that? Nobody bought the game, and they literally struggle to even give it away, so now the studio that made it won't even mention this once powerful franchise? Well, tough shit. When you convince a restaurant to put a crap sandwich on the menu because it's your personal favorite, I don't want to hear complaints about how the customers left because it smelled like shit in there, and I'm not interested in any sob story about how the poor chefs working in the kitchen deserve better. No, they were stupid enough to listen to you and to put the crap sandwich on the menu, and they were stupid enough to keep working there in the first place. But I'm gonna leave it there. Dragon Age is a dead franchise now, and the only thing I can think that would save it is seeing it sold off to a different company. What do you think it would take to resurrect this IP? Drop your thoughts into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.